Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. I have some good news. So today the engine arrived. This, my friends, is a Blueprint Engines 383, and this is also their new block. 383 18 CT1. Alright, this part number here is going to get you a brand new block, crank, heads, cam. It's all Blueprints specific related items that's in this thing. So nothing here is like reused seasoned block that's been, you know, freshened up or anything. This is all new castings. So what I'm going to end up doing here is breaking this engine down for you guys, and I'm also going to reveal the horsepower and torque that this thing made. And yeah, we're going to put it in this old body style Silverado. So if you guys haven't done it already, go back and check out all the old videos of the muscle truck. I've got the old engine sitting over there. Of course, we're retiring that, and we're moving on. So let's break down this engine. All right, so the first thing I want to show you guys is when you get your Blueprint engines, you're going to get a box, or you're going to get a package, and inside that package it's going to have, of course, a dyno sheet and all the information about the engine as far as a warranty, what plugs to run, balancer, flywheel, all that good stuff that you need to know is going to be in this packet. Now, I knew this ahead of time because I actually talked to Kel Bridges there, so I kind of knew what was coming. So I went ahead and actually ordered all my stuff ahead of time. All right, so these engines, all, as far as a minimum horsepower, they are advertised at 436 horsepower, and I believe it's around 450 foot-pounds of torque. So this engine actually made 460 horsepower, 459 horsepower, and 489 foot-pounds of torque. So that's good. This engine made a lot more than what the minimum requirement is for them to ship it out. So this motor's pretty wound up. So that means we got ourselves a little bit of a dyno queen here. Now let's take a look at torque and power and how quick it comes in. So check this out. At 2,500 RPMs, we're already making 408 foot-pounds of torque. So as you can see, the horsepower builds as you go, and the closer we get to red line, obviously the more power it makes. It falls off just a little bit past 5,500 RPM. But red light to red light, what you want to see is this right here. You know, you're looking at 450 foot-pounds of torque right before 3,000 RPMs. That's monstrous torque for a, you know, small block Chevy to be making that kind of torque. You know, most of your cruising, red light to red light, having fun is going to happen between, it's safe to say, about 2,800 to probably around 5. And look at that torque curve. Nice and fat right there. So you're looking at, you know, 440, 450 foot-pounds of torque on average. And then on the dyno sheet, just look how quick, you know, obviously power, we're way down on horsepower, so it does not make a lot of power down low. But as the, you know, engine speeds up, RPM speeds up, this thing really starts to pull, so it starts coming with it. But what's neat is out of the hole, this thing is a monster out of the hole. I mean, as soon as you goose it, you're going to get, you know, a little over 400 foot-pounds of torque, really. If you start your pull from like 3,000 RPM or so, it's going to jump out of the hole really quick. You know, that torque is just insane out of the hole. So that just gives you an idea, and this is exactly what your engine is going to look like. If you order a Blueprint crate engines, any of their engines is going to come in a crate like this. So it's well packaged. I didn't notice anything wrong with it or beat up. It looks like it's been, you know, it's very well put together. And if it did take any kind of hits, obviously I think the engine is okay. So I will give them that it is actually wrapped up pretty good. Now, I did tear this apart just a second ago just to see if the block was orange. And you guys can see there, Blueprint engines. So let's go ahead. I'm not going to bore you anymore with the specifics. Let's get this sucker unboxed and get ready to set it in the Silverado. All right, guys, let's cut this sucker open. Come to Papa. All right. Hopefully it's not rusted in 2 pieces. Now, keep in mind, this engine was also built in October of, let's see, what was it? October 4th. This year is when this engine was built. Keep that in mind. As we look at this, let's see how well it's packaged and sent to you. least they put a cover over the intake. That's good. Very nice. Oh, look at this, guys. There we go. Beautiful. Got some Blueprint valve covers, which we'll probably trade those out for my Chevrolet valve covers that I've got on the other engine. You can tell the engine was ran. There's no foul play in there. And this is a roller motor. Ooh. It even smells new. It smells like a new Silverado's interior. That's what it smells like. It smells like a newer Silverado. That's freaking crazy. Like a brand new Silverado. That's what it smells like in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just that excited about it. But yeah, there we go, guys. Blueprint engines, 383. Technically, you guys that guessed 383 are correct, but this engine, mathematically, is actually only a 4-inch bore, which makes it a 377. So this is basically a 350 small block with a 383 conversion. Of course, it's 383 rotating assembly, so it makes it a 377 because it only is a 4-inch bore. So that's pretty exciting. This thing is going to absolutely rip. I am so excited to see this thing come together. So just a little backstory on the engine real quick and what we've actually got here. So this engine is 10-to-1, and of course it makes, you know, as we saw earlier, it makes good power. You know, 459 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of torque is going to be an absolute beast in this truck. So a couple other things to note about this engine. It has a 540 lift cam, and it also has forged pistons. So this has like a sort of a flat top dome piston in it, and it's 10-to-1. Cast crank, OEM wide beam rods, and it has upgraded bolts in it too. So if you're buying one of these engines, the bottom end should be pretty good. It is a 4-bolt main, but of course this is not really designed for, you know, straight up drag racing all the time. You know, it is a street engine, but it's a very strong street engine. Now, you may be wondering, why did I choose a Blueprint engine? Well, one thing to note about Blueprint is, you know, they started out as actually a smaller company, and they've got a really good backstory and everything. Of course, now they're this huge manufacturing facility. But one thing about it, though, is they dyno test every engine that leaves the warehouse. So you're not just buying an engine that's, you know, well, we dynoed one 10 years ago and it made 440 horsepower. No, it's like your actual engine made this on the dyno. And the other reason is that I really don't have enough time right now to go and rebuild that 327. So let's go take a look at the old motor real quick. Here's the old engine that came out of the truck, of course. This is a 327 Chevy. It is a small journal. It's 11-to-1. It's actually nothing crazy. It is more of just a basic build. It's cast crank, cast rods, hypertuitic pistons. It's got a set of 041 heads on it. This was probably a 375 horsepower engine, maybe not even that much. So it pulled the truck around really good. And I can't really say anything bad about this engine, but of course the crank split. So if you guys didn't check that out last video, go check out the backstory on why this thing is sitting here. So yeah, it's definitely, its time has come. And we also noticed that some of the spark plugs, of course, had some oil on them. So obviously it had some blow by. You could see it was starting to push oil out the valve covers. I mean, there's all kinds of problems that was starting to happen with this little motor. And, you know, I just pushed it really hard. And, you know, it took it for about 40,000 miles. That's about all I got out of it. But, you know, you can't expect much with these kind of junkyard builds with just cast crank, cast rods, you know, basic bare bones 2-bolt block. I mean, it's all reconditioned parts. So this thing was not a race motor, guys. It was a fun street engine, and I really enjoyed it, but its time has come. That is why I chose a Blueprint 383. Number one is just trying to find reputable machine shops. That is like not happening right now. You know, there's all these supply chain issues. There's these delays. There's so many problems right now with finding somebody you can trust to machine your block, and then the lead time to get that block machined. I mean, you guys, you're talking like 6 months to a year to get some of this stuff done. I'm like, dude, I want to drive my truck. I want to enjoy my truck. I really don't want, you know, to wait a year and keep you guys waiting for a year on this thing. And I love this thing. We need to drive it. You know, we want to have fun with it. We want to make content with it. So that is kind of the goal for this thing. So that's the reason why I chose a 383. You know, and I chose Blueprint as well because I wanted something that I could get quick, reliable, good power, and it was all new. That was the big selling point for me, was that, you know, this block is made in the USA. Everything here is USA built. So this is not some junkyard motor that, you know, somebody's put together. This is actually like a legitimate new block, new crank, new rods. I mean, we're starting fresh here. So over the next few days, I am going to be taking the intake, a couple of the sensors, and there's a few other things on that engine that we're going to take off and get ready to add to the stroker motor. So I'm really excited for this build, and you guys are going to get some really good content over the next like few weeks, days. I actually tried, I'm trying to have the thing in the truck and maybe running by this Saturday. So if you're watching this video, there's a chance that within about a week, this thing is going to be running. The engine also has 1.6 roller GM Delphi rockers. I think they're going to do okay. I haven't really heard anything bad about really any of the components in here. If you go look up most of the reviews on Blueprint, some of their stuff that is bad is from like years ago, like maybe when they were first starting out and starting to get into the big name world. They, back in like 2011, 2014, might have had some bad reviews, but here recently, if you go and read reviews, most of the stuff is pretty good on these guys. So if you haven't done it already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and keep up with this build. I'm going to walk you guys through the whole process, and we're going to see just how good this engine is and if it's going to work in this truck. So guys, I want to thank you all for watching this engine reveal video, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. So if you like what you see, give this video a like. That's going to help get this one out to the masses. And also drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. You guys that guessed 383, kudos to you. You guessed it. So there we go. I'm out.